Show. Living on the water is the only life we know. Yo, ho, ho, ho. It's time for the Boaty Show.
Welcome, everybody, back to the 10th week of the Boaty Show.
Oh, no, it is not.
It is. This is the 10th week that we've done this. We have 11. With this, we will have 11 episodes.
It's very exciting.
Is it?
Congratulations. Happy anniversary or whatever.
Yeah, happy 10th week anniversary. We did this.
Yeah.
How are you? How are you, Stephanie?
I'm doing fine. It's a Saturday morning. It's not raining.
No.
We're going to take some boat rides today.
Tell me more about that. Like, what's the boat plan today?
We're going to get in the boat and go to Clayton, and we're going to play some pool with some friends.
Which boat are you getting in?
We're getting in the Seaway. Getting Downeaster Seaway. That's
super clean. And then you're going to go to Clayton and play pool at O'Brien's, right?
The Navigator.
Oh, the Nav. We're
going to the Nav. We're going to the Lost Navigator, which I feel like is a very appropriately named bar for this show.
That is. And you're hanging out with Jen Fitch again. She has joined us for one of the earlier episodes live from Vermont.
Correct. And then a former Boat of the Week winner, Julianne Bauer, Flora, is going to meet us there for a new type of pool that we've invented ourselves, which we don't need to go into because it's not Boaty.
Ask her what it's called.
Steph, what's it called? What is it called?
It's just called balls.
I'm not familiar with this type of game. So you know.
Jen Fitch, have you played balls before?
Not this one.
Not this one.
Please edit that out.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
He's not going to.
Wait, so tell us more about this game. What is it and how, if somebody was interested in playing balls, how would they play it?
Okay, all right. So here's what happened. So I love to play pool, and I have a hard time getting people to go play pool with me because everyone's like, I'm no good at pool. And so I did get my friend Celia and my friend Julie to go with me last weekend, which I was very excited about. But then there were three of us, and there's a lot of like posturing around like, well, should two of us be on one team or the other? Anyway, it was confusing. And then we decided that we would just put the quarters in, and instead of having to worry about like who was stripes and who was solids, everybody just tries to get all the balls in. And then, so you're all on the same team until you get to the 8-ball, and then it becomes a competition. Ball in, and that's it. That's the only part that's competition. The rest of it's all teamwork. It's hippie rules. We really like hippie rules.
Hippie rules pool until the 8-ball, and then because it's hippie rules, but you're not. You're like, are you a hippie?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't identify as a hippie?
Not exactly, but I will say that I have a very sort of non-competitive style when it comes to gaming of all kinds, and so we often talk about hippie rules, like in my life with my friends, you know. But I don't know that makes me a hippie.
So you have a non-competitive style. I also know that you have a dashiki.
That's true.
That's true.
I do. I have. Well, you call it a dashiki. Other people might call it like it's like a muumuu. But yes, you. Or is it like a caftan? I like to say like that's my boating outfit for the entire summer, as you know, is just to wear like random caftani like things. But yes, I remember you calling it the river dashiki one day. Yes,
yeah.
Long time ago.
You also have other things that you no longer wear because because of what I call them.
Yes.
Tell me more.
And you
have a I think it's purple.
It's navy blue.
Navy blue with white piping and trim, and it was like your favorite what do you call it, like wrap or
cover up, kind of like a bathing suit cover up kind of thing.
Bathing suit cover up, and then you were wearing it for years, and then I called it what it was always called inside my head, but I said it on the outside of my head, and I called it your river teddy.
Yeah. It was a pivotal moment in our relationship. It's probably the only time you've ever seen me blush in my entire life.
You straight up blushed, and then you had a moment of crisis where you had to seek confirmation from multiple people over probably a 3-week period
Yeah, it took some time. I had to confirm. I had to, yeah, because I was trying. I was upset. We were with a bunch of friends. I remember when you said the words River Teddy, and then I was like, shit, have I been wearing underwear for like years and no one mentioned it? Have I just been wearing like underwear on the outside and no one thought to say anything?
And you had a question that you asked people. Do you remember what it was?
I do. I remember I had to, trust but verify, right? So I remember I had to go out and say to people, yeah, I'm wearing this thing. Like, what do you think? Is this sleep or swim? It was sleep or swim was the question. Is this sleep or is this swim? And everybody's like, yeah, it's great. I really like it. Oh, no, it's definitely sleep, though. And I was like, God damn it.
And I haven't seen it since.
It's not. No, I actually wore it to the scavenger hunt last year.
Oh, you did? But it was raining and you had a raincoat on over it. I'm just putting this together. I was at the scavenger hunt with you. I didn't notice that you were wearing the River Teddy because it was raining and everybody was in raincoats, but you were wearing the River Teddy?
I can't. This is just like, I feel like this is a dangerous episode already.
Okay. We walked out to the end of the plank and we're just going to gently step back. Okay.
Yes, yes to all of these things. All of that happened. It's amazing. That was amazing.
Okay.
So
all right.
full of bad ideas in every direction. But what?
I have no idea.
Wait. Do you remember? There was an amazing moment at the scavenger hunt when you and I saw each other. Because I had that captain's hat on too.
Yes. Oh, fuck. Oops. I dropped the F-bomb. I forgot. That's right. You were wearing the River Teddy under your rain jacket. It wasn't a cap. It's not a captain's hat.
It's kind of a captain's hat.
It's like a cross between a captain's hat, a policeman's hat, and a stripper hat.
Okay.
And you walked up to me, and what did I say?
Well, I think we had this yacht rock party, right? Remember, I wore the hat at the yacht rock party, and you and I was concerned. I was concerned that I looked like a little too stripper.
Yeah.
And we were laughing about that. And then when I saw you at the scavenger hunt, I had the same hat on. I was like, look, got the stripper hat on, but I've got this long raincoat. And you're like, that makes it worse.
That does make it worse. A stripper hat with a long raincoat looks even more stripper.
If anyone, I swear to God, if people who know me would not identify with this description.
No.
But I can't argue with anything you're saying.
It all happened. I remember thinking, and I think I said it, that you look like you were out of a Motley Crue video. Like Bret Michaels was gonna like slide into frame, screaming "Kickstart My Heart," and you were gonna like go into the background and dance.
Oh my God. This is good stuff.
This is good stuff.
I have to say I've been low key terrified of the River Teddy coming up at some point. But it went so much worse than I had planned.
It's because you let me bring it up. You could have controlled the situation and brought it up on your own terms. However, all right, let's come back around to hippie rules balls and.
Yes, great idea.
I also want to point out that you have this tendency that you just want people to play a game that you're excited about with you, and
Yeah.
and you'll adjust accordingly the gameplay to get people to play. So you have a favorite board game called Cargo.
I do. It's very nautical, and if everybody, well, I would say everybody should go get it because it's amazing, but. In truth, you can't because they only made it for like 2 years in 1986. And so you have to buy them on eBay when they come up. Like they don't make it anymore. But it's the Great Lakes shipping game.
And called Cargo. And what's like, do you even know how you compete and win, or do you?
No. It's my favorite board game and I have no idea how to play it.
But you get people playing it with you all the time.
I do. I just make up some rules and like we play for a little while and it's great. And everyone is like, one of the things about it that's cool is all the wrecks that are actually in the Great Lakes are on the board. The board is the Great Lakes, and you're a ship, and you cruise around, right? And then when you roll doubles, you're supposed to pick a card from the deck of actual Great Lake wrecks, and you read the story of the wreck.
Oh, that's cool.
The most fun part. Yeah, it's just super fun. That's the best part of the game, really. So the rest is just shipping, which is not interesting. You're just moving around the board. That's it. Takes forever. Slow as shit.
You're not making any money at it. It's very low margin. You're
exactly. Yeah, you actually go heavily into debt in the beginning of the game, which is amazing.
Very realistic for Great Lakes shipping.
Yeah, but it's a very nautical game, and I the reason I first brought it home when I used to work at Save the River was because we were working on like a Great Lakes wide issue, and I knew nothing about the geography of the Great Lakes, and so I brought it home like it was informational. I was going to play this game, and I was going to learn where things were. That was the idea.
How'd that go?
I
think it went pretty well.
It went well.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, you know what'd be fun is to read some of those cards on a future episode.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, we'll pull those cards out. We're going to move on to our first topic, which is I'm going to walk back some of my whaler disparagement. And I'm going to explain where I'm coming from with the whaler.
All right. I mean, so far, I'm fully on board. Go.
A couple episodes ago, you said that you really like this show because sometimes it's therapy. So I guess this counts as that.
Okay. Yes. Good.
I'm going to process. So I didn't grow up in a whaler like you did and like many of our listeners did. I grew up sailing boats on the Chesapeake, and we'd always have a little dinghy, and I loved it all. It was amazing, and I'm so grateful to my family for giving me that experience. But you know, I think I kind of always saw like in the distance a kid in a whaler and was jealous, and then I got a whaler as our first boat. Old boat, new motor. It was a hammered 1970 Nauset, blue hull, 17 foot. And I talked about it before. Got a new motor on it, got it all rewired, all that stuff. That's what we used when we started boating as a family when the kids were little. I mean, babies. And Missy learned to drive in that, and it was wonderful. And I really, really liked that boat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lots of good memories. It pounded and bounced like whalers do. And the problem is I like to keep things going. I have a 1995 Toyota Tacoma pickup truck that I bought new. It's in the garage and undergoing a very slow motion restoration. Mm-hmm. I like to keep things in play. I like to keep things going. I like to fix things, blah, blah, blah. You can't fix a whaler.
Oh, and specifically, to be specific, what was wrong with your whaler, I believe, was that it got soaked out with water or something?
So whalers are made by laying a skin, that's the bottom of the boat.
Lasagna.
Pie shell.
Jello shots. Yep.
And then you put the upper skin, which is the deck, in, and then you fill the whole cavity in between, which is 3 to 4 inches or more, with foam, which expands, and then the whole thing gets clamped together while the foam hardens and glues itself to the skins, and it makes this like the whole thing is a composite, a laminate composite, meaning that the combination of the two skins and the foam in between makes it really strong. However, that's it. It's this structure that is really, really durable and resilient until it's not, because the foam comes unstuck from the skins. Also, inevitably, water gets in through the skin and into the foam, and then in the winter, it freezes and thaws and expands and contracts, and the whole thing starts to just come apart. And you can't like take it apart and put it back together again because. So I'm actually re-experiencing some of the sadness that I had when like we had to get rid of this boat because I couldn't fix it.
This is very interesting. You're doing some good work here. Now,
there are people who will restore these things. They'll actually take the skins apart, scrape all the foam out, and say they put new foam in. Maybe they put in, some superstructure or like new bones inside, like a new framework or something like that. But not so much. Whalers are supposed to be unsinkable because of this foam. There's a famous ad where one gets cut in half by a chainsaw and they drive around the half that has the motor on it.
Yep.
Right. I couldn't fix it. It was too far gone. I couldn't fix it. It started to literally sink. And there was a moment when Missy was driving it, and when you'd come off plane, you'd be, skimming on top of the water, and you'd come off plane and you'd be sort of back down to slow speed, where the water in between the skins and the foam would shift around, and it would squirt out of holes in the deck and start to fill the boat up. And the kids would freak out. And I remember this moment where Missy was bringing the whaler, the SK, into the dock, and the water's like squirting out of the holes and filling up the boat. And the kids are like, mommy, this boat's sinking. And she's like, just settle down. The bilge pump will get it. It's fine. That's about when I realized that we were probably at end of life for it. I sold it to a really nice guy who I had an adventure with.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Wait, ask why'd you sell it to some guy if it's a sinking boat and there's nothing you can do about it?
I was completely. It still floated, right? Like it didn't go underwater completely. It just like was full of water.
Did he have like fewer small children than you did?
He had 0 small children.
Okay, well that sounds like the right move then. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, in general, yes.
So how do you feel right now?
Yeah, it still just galls me that you can't fix them. That's where my hang up is.
Well, I do think that that's really interesting. And I think you're the only person I know that's gotten to that point with a whaler.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I guess I say that, but I don't know. I mean, I know people get rid of them sometimes, and I know that people have wet ones, but that sounded like really end of life wet.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and that part of it is because we just beat on it. Like we did not lift. So, okay, now I've walked some of that back. I actually literally, all joking aside, not all joking, most joking aside, I feel better.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I think that I can see where you're coming from with that. And I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, you know me, no matter what kind of boat it was, I wasn't going to fix it up anyway. So I guess what I do understand is that you have something, you have a great time with it, and it would be nice. It'd be nice to be able to hold on to it. Yeah,
and I can fix almost anything,
right?
Given enough time, and I couldn't just wasn't going to happen. We're going to segue from that to a story you said a while back in episode 2 that you'd tell us someday, which is why or how you moved from California to the river for a whaler.
This is a whaler story, yeah. So this story is, I used to live in San Francisco, like many of us, like you. We didn't know each other then. And a lot of our friends used to live there. But yeah, I was living in San Francisco, and I had this awesome reverse commute, which was I lived near Alamo Square Park, and it was the 90s. So naturally I had to rollerblade to the Embarcadero Bay and get on a ferry and go to the East Bay. So I was on a ferry twice a day, which was delightful. Reverse commute, so I was kind of by myself on the ferry with a couple friends. You know, it was like very idyllic. Like it was those moments you're on your way home, you're drinking an Anchor Steam, you're on top of the ferry. It's always nice weather because it's freaking California, whatever. But I just remember like feeling like this is so great, this is so wonderful, and then we would get buzzed by the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard were driving these gorgeous whalers, like the industrial whalers that are so much hotter than regular whalers, and they're like got the big industrial rub rail, and they're very black and white and awesome. And every time I was like trying to have a wonderful time and be proud of myself on my reverse commute ferry ride, I would just get buzzed by these whalers, and I just thought, damn it, I don't want to be riding on the boat. I want to be driving the boat. And that was one of the most important moments where I was like, I just got to go back I have to leave idyllic California, and I have to go back to the river. So I did.
That's a great story. And yeah, motivation to be back at the wheel, back at the helm. Because you also said in one of our discussions about whalers that you have such love for them and nostalgia because behind the wheel of the whaler, you learn to be an independent person.
That's like why I love the river, is because a lot of it has to do with driving boats. It's fun to be driving the boat. It's less fun for me to be riding in the boat and all of that. There's a place for all of it. But in those moments, I was realizing how much I wanted to be driving the boat and not just looking at them in the distance, etc. I grew up on the Hudson River, which is a very beautiful river, and it's just not nearly as boaty as the St. Lawrence. And so I've always been sort of interested in that, you know, why some places are so much more boaty, and we could talk about that for a whole other episode. But there's a place for riding and there's a place for ferries, but in those moments I just wanted to be driving the boat. So
yeah, no, I totally get that. And we're going to use the Bay Area bit of that story to segue to our Boaty news of the week.
Oh yeah, what's that?
This is actually Boaty news of last week. However, 2-story houseboat moved from Redwood City to Sausalito. Those are 2 towns on the San Francisco Bay. This wasn't your normal moving day. A 2-story home was floated from Redwood City to a new spot in Sausalito. The marine move across the bay left an impression that won't soon drift away. The home's journey started Monday morning at Docktown in the Redwood City Marina. Redwood City's in the south. This is me saying on the side. The Redwood City's in the South Bay. The floating home was one of the last remaining houseboats after a legal battle to evict dozens of people, and with many residents settling with the city and promising to relocate. New neighbors at the Commodore Marina in Sausalito gathered to watch the boat come in. They said they'd been anxiously awaiting for it to arrive. It was about midnight when it was supposed to come in, and people were like, "Where is it?" Phil of Sausalito said. Trip took a little longer than expected. Ran into some complications. Spent the night floating in Richardson Bay. They went up a twisty channel, got to have the tide right. Things are very heavy, travel through the bay. The next step in the process is movers have to actually wait for another high tide to ensure the water line is high enough to swap the old houseboat for the new one. Sounds like they're pulling one out and putting this one in. It's all about timing. When it comes in here, you have to have a tide over a certain height. You don't want to get halfway and get your houseboat stuck. This thing's really big. It looks like an actual house from a subdivision, on a float going across the bay. So that's pretty remarkable. And this whole ordeal of houseboat neighborhoods getting pushed out, evicted is that happens in a few different places. The Bay Area there's a long history of back in the day when, before it was Silicon Valley and super expensive, it was a lot more live and let live. These houseboat neighborhoods kind of sprung up, but the surrounding towns don't really seem to like them very much. I know that the houseboat community in Sausalito has been under pressure in the past to get out.
Huh. I didn't realize that, but I guess that makes sense.
You've got, you end up with people who have, $5, $8, $15 million homes overlooking the houseboat neighborhood. And if the houseboat neighborhood doesn't meet their expectations for what should be in their view, they're going to get bent about it. Also, the houseboat neighborhood may have people who are inclined to, flush their sewage overboard, and then that ends up getting people bummed out. But it's a little like that gets used as an excuse because there's probably like 1 out of 10 that might do that.
Right. Okay. So this is interesting. So what's your take on this news? What made you want to bring this up?
Well, I just think it's pretty wild that one community said no, another community said yes, and then this house, and I'll share a picture of it on Instagram. This house that looks like it straight out of a subdivision floated across the whole San Francisco Bay.
It looks like a house, not a houseboat.
Yeah, it's got a porch and gables and dormers and stuff.
It sounds like I would have. That's a project I would have gotten behind. I would have gone along for the ride on that one. Especially if I could have been in an upstairs bedroom. Just because it would be weird. That would with a dresser and an armoire, exactly. And your doll collection. Yeah, that'd be great. This is a weird story, which means automatically it's a good story, and it's about a kind of a boat. But really, I guess it is a boat by our definition because they did not get wet, right?
Yeah, they went from point A to point B.
So it's a boat, and then they did it, and good for them. I always remember hearing about the Sausalito houseboat thing, but I never went over there. I need to go on more excursions to places that have lots of houseboats because that's my jam.
Especially because they're probably not going to be around forever.
Yeah.
Due to these NIMBY situations where people can't just live and let live. There's a houseboat community that is my very favorite. I like the one in Sausalito, and I've checked it out only from land. I don't think I ever saw the one down in Redwood City. My very favorite one that I've encountered is on Lake Union in Seattle. There's a really cool place there called the Center for Wooden Boats.
Oh yeah.
The Center for Wooden Boats. Our friend Emmett Smith used to work there. I think he might have been the director of it.
Right. I'm remembering that now. They
have a bunch of rowing skiffs, old wooden or at least reproduction wooden rowing skiffs. And I was there for a meeting, a conference, and I used a bike share bike. It was the first time I'd ever done that. I used a bike share bike to cruise around the city and check stuff out. And I went down to the lake because whenever I travel for work, I like to find whatever water there is and go look at it and figure it out. Mm-hmm. And I saw the Center for Wooden Boats, and I saw a sign which said, take one of our boats out. So I walked out on the dock because this whole thing is floating and said, really? I can just take one of these out? They're like, sure, here, sign your name here. I signed my name into the logbook, and I picked one out. It was blue, my favorite color, and I got into it and they said, don't get run over by a seaplane. And I didn't really know what they were talking about. And so I rowed out into the lake and I rowed past a houseboat community that similarly these were houses. They were post-war sort of subdivision sized houses. They were not all uniform and sort of like, cookie cuttered like that, but that kind of size and that sort of general design aesthetic and lots of cool touches, spiral staircases up to a viewing balcony, sort of over the roof and like lots of plants and outdoor seating areas and that kind of thing. But the really, 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 to me, the really, really cool part of this is that most of them were floating on giant monster redwood logs.
Oh.
So way, way, way back when.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Way, way back when redwoods were, getting logged all over the place. And so they got made into rafts and then people built houses on them.
That's amazing. I was assuming you were going to say pontoon.
Redwood log pontoon. So we can, we can both be right.
There you go.
But that was so cool. And then I found out why she said don't get run over by a seaplane, because I don't know if it's still going, but at the time there was a commuter airline that ran seaplane flights from Lake Union to different places. And so they just like constant stream of these things landing and taking off. And I rode out into the middle of the lake because I wanted like a really cool 360 view. And all of a sudden one of these things like took off and went over me. And it felt like it was right over me, but it was not. And that was pretty wild.
Yikes.
And there's a good segue that we're not going to get to right away, but we will get to later, which is Lake Union is where the original hot tub boat was invented and where they are still being built and where you can actually rent them.
I know. I'm so jealous. Why don't we have that in the Thousand Islands?
I think we could.
I'm so jealous. All I want to do is sit in that hot tub. It's so... They're so... did you want to wait, or why are we waiting to talk about it? Why don't we talk about it right now?
Because it's one of the weeks. We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, well, okay.
We can get there soon.
Well, I mean, I'd like to hurry up anyway because I want to hear the song.
All right. We have one other thing to talk about before we get to Boat of the Week. We're going to go back to electric boats. I grew up on a lake where you weren't allowed to have an actual gas motor, and so everybody had a trolling motor on their little boat, and it was awesome. I mean, you didn't get to like hammer down, go fast, go water skiing or anything like that. You could go slow and go fishing, but it was cool.
That makes me think of a really funny story, maybe for later, about just everyone's different style of boating. Like some people like to go fast and some people like to go slow. In the situation you're talking about, it was the technology and the sort of the regulation, if you will, was sort of requiring that people took a certain approach to boating, right?
Yeah.
The slow one. But when given the option, different people have very different approaches around that question and those preferences.
What's the story that you have behind this point?
So as we all know, I grew up on this little island where nobody really did any recreational boating. We just did this like hurry up and get back to the mainland type of boating. And so we went full speed in our whaler for 30 seconds until we were at the place where we docked our boat and went by car wherever we were going, whatever. Anyway, so that's how we boated. And my friends, because we didn't know anyone, we didn't know anyone anywhere in the Thousand Islands until I was like 18. We brought our friends from home on the Hudson River and they came up and stayed with us. Anyway, so my friend Reedy had grown up, she'd spent many, many, many summers at the river with us. And she was familiar with our style of boating, which is apparently get it over with as quickly as possible. Then we have our other good friend, Will Ramsire, who I'm sure will not mind if I tell the story. I have a couple really good Will boat stories. This is one of them. But Will had like a Lyman, like a nice wooden boat. Was the Lyman? Listener correction requested. And we all went for a boat ride with him one day. And he was like, logically, we had some cocktails and he was cruising along slowly. I remember my friend Reedy made fun of him.
He made fun of him?
She made fun of him for going slowly, which is hilarious. She was like, is this as fast as your boat goes?
Because the sum total of our boating experience had been like top speed 30-second boat rides between the island and the mainland.
Exactly. And it was like this meeting, and I just remember Will looking at her like, what are you talking about? And I love those moments where the people are just not the communication is not arriving and hitting accurately in any direction.
No.
So it was like, one of my favorite, like, we didn't understand that we were supposed to be just like chilling out and having a beverage in a boat. Like, we didn't understand that was something you did.
The boat ride had already lasted. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's really hilarious in retrospect, and I don't think you need to know the people. If you do know the people, it's funny too. But it was just great. Like, he's like, I'm just trying to have a nice day in my boat, and then Reedy was just like just ridiculing him for the slowness,
for not like immediately flooring it.
Yeah, he's like, just as fast as your boat goes. Like, you could just hear the word loser at the end of the sentence.
Oh, that's good.
So we all learn. We learn the way we live. Now I'm very happy to go slowly.
Yeah. Our friends Mark and Tracy Vanders bought an island, hadn't grown up boating, and had no experience. The guy that they bought the island from, I think, included one of the boats and took them out there to the island to show them what's up, get them, show them how to drive the boat. And Mark tells this great story about how, like, the guy was that style of boater where, like, you go full speed towards the place where you're going to dock it, and then you like slam it in reverse and slow down.
Yeah.
And Mark thought that was just how you drove boats and how you docked. And so, like, for like a while, he was like flying into the boathouse and slamming in reverse, but not getting it right because he was new at it, and like wham, whacking the boat into the dock. And then eventually somebody was like, hey, you don't have to go that fast into the dock. Like, you can go slower. He's like, really? Oh, yeah.
Send that guy a Boaty Show sticker right now.
Mark Vanderswan, you're going to get a Boaty Show sticker in the mail just for being awesome and making...
Just for doing all of that. That's amazing. He's my hero. Also, I'm really sad that somebody told him that he could not do that. Bring it back. What's his name? What's this guy's name?
Mark Vanderswan.
I met him, right? He's on the Canadian island that we randomly arrived at last year sometime.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mark, Needle. Well done. Yeah, I think somebody should correct the correction.
Mark, Tracy, you got to bring it back. Tracy also, interestingly, has given me. She's charged me with figuring out how to give her something that is both a jet ski and a snowmobile, because they're snowmobiles and jet skis are both made by Bombardier.
Great point.
And she's like, why are they two different things? Why can't I have one that is...
She's not wrong.
They got like the same engine. They got like the same steering handle-y thing. All of it.
I think I know the person that owns that company. I'll mention it. I think that's a really good idea. It's a great point. I want one too.
All right. A snowmobile, jet ski, snowmobile.
Yeah.
We'll get that commissioned.
Yeah, what were we just talking about? Like, we just wandered down like a boaty road. I don't know what happened.
We're in the Lost Channel.
Oh, which your friends are right by Lost Channel, aren't they? And now I think we should have a speed docking contest. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the videos of the Chesapeake Bay fishing boats that do speed docking?
Yes, I have. Somebody sent me that, and I'm so grateful that I know that it exists, and I don't know why we don't do it.
But would it be a competition? How would everybody win?
I don't know. I'd have to work on the hippie rolls a little bit. But so far, I feel like everyone's already winning because you're in your boat, like, just doing some bullshit. Like
how can you
hurry up and dock?
How can you hurry up? Quick dock. Now do it again.
I have watched it. It's amazing.
All right.
Get at it.
All right, Stephanie. Here it goes.
It's the boat of the week, stable and sleek. Check out that vessel, baby, isn't she sweet? It's the boat of the week, the boat of the week. Ooh, how I love me, the boat of the week. La, la,
That was amazing again.
I know you. The only reason you're actually recording this with me today is so that you get to hear the song.
I love to hear it again. I'm so excited.
Here it is. Okay.
I feel slightly upstaged, like that song might be the best part of our podcast.
Yeah, well.
We just have to work harder to make it better. Are you taking pictures of me? Because I don't want anyone to see what I look like.
No, I'm trying to pull up the first boat of the week entry, which is from me.
The way you just said that was so bad, guy.
All right. This came up on my, like, as a suggestion on Instagram. There's an account, Dean, DEAN Janikowski. And it looked like Dean and Janikowski and Jack Janikowski are making something called the Jet John. I'm going to describe it. It's a John boat. So just a little aluminum, regular old, probably like 12, maybe 14 foot long aluminum boat.
Yep.
Got a pointy bow and a flat transom at the stern. Nothing special about it. Into this John boat, this tin boat, they have installed a jet ski engine and a jet drive and 2 racing seats. And that's it. Wait, no, there's a stick that you use to steer it, and it is making me fall in love and making me want to do this project too.
Well, can I ask a question? How come more boats don't have that for an engine?
There are a lot that do.
I mean, I guess, yeah, sort of, but not compared to the other options.
Yeah, I'm all in on this. I've been
very fast.
Yeah, and
I like that.
I like that too. And like, there's no propeller to hit a rock. There have been a lot of small jet boats made. So the jet ski, sort of introduced the miniaturized jet drive. The miniaturized jet drive was, in terms of recreational boating, was new, but it wasn't the first jet drive used in recreational boating, because in the 70s, Jacuzzi made jet boat pumps, big pumps that people stuck giant friggin' like Oldsmobile 400 cubic inch big block motors on, and stuck this whole assembly into a speedboat, and they would zoom around with their exhaust pipes sticking up out into the air and making all sorts of glorious noise, and shooting a giant nozzle of jet water out the back. But then jet skis kind of went, miniaturized on this, but like, these guys are taking looks like a salvage jet ski motor, a salvage jet ski pump, stick it in the back of a scrap aluminum boat, and then slamming 2 seats and a stick to steer with in there.
Rock and roll.
This is good. It's really good.
It's pretty good. I mean, I know that you're pitching it extra hard because you don't get to vote, but you're doing a good job.
Okay.
I like how fast it goes, and also I like how it doesn't take up much space.
Right. Yeah.
I just all it is the engine-y part.
Today during crew practice, I found what looks to be like a abandoned derelict tin boat, and I was looking at it and thinking about Jet John.
You sound a little beklempt right now.
I'm verklempt.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Consider it somewhat sold.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not trying to use my verklemptness to sell it. But if that happens to be the case, then
but if that's the outcome, I'm fine with it.
All right. Next up.
The Victory Tug?
No, the Nimble Nomad.
Oh, there it is. Yes. This is from our friend Jera. My friend Jera. You've never met Jera.
Jera gets no matter who wins today, Jera gets a Boat of the Week sticker because I've never met her, and we got a Boat of the Week submission.
Yay. I love this boat. It's gorgeous. I think she's absolutely right on. It's a dream vessel as far as I'm concerned. But you know me. I like tugboats a lot. I do. I really do. I love the Nordic tug is kind of like one of my dream boats. This one is also adorable. Has like a green canvasy picnic covery thing on the back. Nice green hull, multiple portholes. They're not round, but that's okay.
There's one round one.
Oh yeah, there's one round one. Good call.
Yeah.
The side is also green and also delightful. I love it. I love this boat.
I'm gonna read the Nomad description. The Nimble Boatworks Nomad. That perfect boat exists, but only in the mind's eye. If you see a boat that is trailerable, very tough, constructed of imported coring between layers of fiberglass, designed by a well-known and respected designer such as Ted Brewer, built by a team of craftsmen who care what you think of their work, and offered by a company whose previous owner, Jerry Koch, insists that you participate in the final design phase of your boat, then you may have found the Nimble Nomad. That's good copy.
Ooh.
These are made in Tampa, Florida. They are not very big. I can't find length overall. I'm going to say it's 20 feet max. Powered by a 50 horsepower outboard motor. Totally trailable. Has a galley, AC/DC refrigerator, stove. So it's packing a whole bunch of like livable into a very small footprint.
And it looks good.
Yeah. There's this like pocket tugboat styled yacht thing. And you mentioned the Ranger tug before. That's another example of this. There's a company called Martini Boatworks that I don't think they make them anymore, but you and I went out cruising around last summer or the summer before. Remember we saw that tiny little tugboat yacht thing with like probably too many people on it when we were over by the Ivy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't we try to become friends with them? Did we follow them around for a while?
We did.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We were front loading our affection.
Well.
We were front loading our affection for them.
We were front loading our affection for them as well. Yeah.
No stalking, front loading affection. Yeah, that didn't work out. We didn't make any new friends. I think we just scared them.
No, I was like, we're in a down east boat right now. They should just like us. They should just wander over here and we should become friends for life. But you never know. It could happen this summer.
Yeah, I like your optimism.
Thank you.
The pocket tug yacht is a whole class of boat. And you're a sucker for these because they've got like really interesting design as compared to most more conventional speedboat looking things. And,
right, or like cruisers. Like there's a lot of cruisers that I don't like to look at. Like I appreciate what they do, but I don't really like to look at them. Right.
Yeah. And this also looks it is a tiny houseboat.
Yeah.
And
which I like. Yes.
You like all things houseboat, and you also like tiny houses, and you happen to actually have a few.
Them. Yeah, that's a great point. I just did a tour of them with my friend Jen Fitch, who's here. We just did a little tour of the she shed, the she shanty, and the teen center. Yeah. That's
three tiny houses that you have.
3 random outbuildings for no reason. Yes, they all serve no purpose whatsoever.
The she shanty holds the Faye collection. That's something. That's a purpose.
True. That is true. Yes, it does.
All right, that's our third boat of the week. And a discussion of your multiple outbuildings that serve no purpose, except the one that holds the Faye collection, which is a collection of vintage nautical attire that you acquired from Faye.
Well, from a family that bought Fane. It's actually, her name was Fayne, Fane. And she was just a stupendous collector of clothing, and especially nautical clothing. And she, friends of mine ended up buying a house that was hers, and we ended up with a very large collection of nautical clothing. Yes, it's true.
You know what's funny?
You mean everything? Go ahead.
That our kids have grown up thinking that this kind of shit is normal.
I know. Oh my God, I sound like such a weirdo. Okay, it's fine.
Our third boat of the week, hot tub boats. Soak in the scenery. The original hot tub boat. Come explore Lake Union on a gorgeous boat from a cozy hot tub, marveling at seaplanes, houseboats. Remember what I was just saying about?
Yeah.
Yep. And the Seattle skyline. We offer Seattle's premier hot tub boat rental experience, complete with Bluetooth speakers, easy joystick navigation, and plenty of space for food and drinks. Open year-round, we're here to help you make your great memories and celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, and fun times with friends and family. No, I'm very jealous of Seattle.
Ugh, me too.
Because they're like, these guys are advertising the original and premier hot tub boat experience. Like, there's freaking competition amongst hot tub boat purveyors.
So jealous. That's the kind of competition I can get behind. I really want this. And I do have a question for you though. Is it really a boat?
Well, look at it and you tell me, because we talked about this last week.
I love the way this one looks. I know we talked about hot tub boats previously. And at that point, my point was like, it wasn't boaty enough. But now I'm thinking, like, is it even a boat by our definition? Because you're wet. I mean, it's a boat full of water and you're going to get wet.
Well, we said you don't have to get wet, but you can choose to get wet.
Do you think what's your option look like if you don't want to get wet and get somewhere in this boat?
Oh, you could sit up on the deck. Like, there's a picture of a guy like in
the joystick from there. I'm getting very technical.
Yeah, you could get the joystick from there.
You could empty it, but would that be any fun?
I think it's remarkable how technical you're getting about this.
I know. I'm really overthinking this right now. All right, here's like a slightly less intense reaction.
Yeah, let's get back to hippie rules, bro.
I love this and I want it. And it's like, it has that nice like wooden decky deck. I love the fact that you drive with the joystick. It just brings me joy. So it looks classy. Like, it's a classy looking hot tub boat. You know, yeah. I wouldn't say the lines are anything special. But
as far as if you've got to have a boat that is also a hot tub, I don't think you could make the lines any better.
You could not make them any better. That is true. And it's like, don't you love the exterior? Like, or you mean just the look of it? Like,
yeah. Now this is straight up a boat I think this is a boat first, then a hot tub.
I really like it. I really want this. And I don't, again, wouldn't kick it out of my boathouse, but also I don't really want to own it. I kind of want to rent it. I have to be honest.
How it all started during the cold, wet winter of 2011. Our founder, Adam Karpinski, was on his houseboat longing for the warmth and comfort of a hot tub. Without room to install one in his home, he had the craziest idea. A professional wooden boat shipwright, Adam put his mind to work on crafting a hot tub that would stay nice and warm within a sleek wooden boat. He drew up plans over the weekend, and with the help of peers, lofted the hull over the following week. Next came planking, fiberglass skinning, and a float test. They had a working prototype for one heck of a party on New Year's Eve. With some final touches, the first hot tub boat was born.
It's a great story.
So our friend Emmett Smith, who I believe was the director of the Center for Wooden Boats, or was at least significantly involved in it on Lake Union, knows Adam and was probably there round about this time, or at least overlapped with Adam. And maybe they did boat building stuff together. When we posted our boat of the week entries last week, Emmett said, "Hey, don't forget the original, which is this." And I ended up doing some Instagram direct messaging with the marketing manager for the company, and I think this is really a really cool story. And this is there's like the Spa Cruisy, those sort of toy boat looking ones from the Netherlands.
Yeah, the multicolored kind of, plasticky.
Those aren't boats. That's a hot tub first that happens to have some boat styling. This is somebody built a boat and then they did some just enough optimization of the design so that it would also function as a hot tub.
I love it so much. I want it.
I love it. I think being able to rent one of these on the St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
In the Thousand Islands.
Hey, hello, community. Somebody please go start that company right now. Do it. Maybe that's you. Am I talking to you, Jeff?
Usually when there's something you want to have happen that's ridiculous, you're like, you know that you've got a friend in me.
Yeah, I really do know that.
But also it goes into a direction. Like, I wanted to start a ridiculous podcast, and I knew that you were the right person for it.
Thank you very much.
Those are our three contestants: the Jet John.
I can't decide.
The Nimble Nomad, and the original hot tub boat in Seattle, invented by Adam Karpinski. I can't vote on the Jet John.
I know you can't. And I can't decide on these boats because they're too nice. So they all win.
No hippie rules. We've been over this.
Okay. So I might actually I don't know. I'm sorry that I don't think I'm gonna go with your very fast metal boat.
Okay, that's out.
And now it's down. I think it's the hot tub boat because I already have a houseboat and I'm not going to go with the tug.
Now, boat of the week isn't necessarily like
it's not for me.
Boat shopping list of the week for Stephanie.
It is though, isn't it? It is.
It is. Well, that's how I talked you into the Sunseeker 100 last week. I'm like, this is exactly what you need in a yacht. And you're like, okay, fine. Yes, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into the hot tub boat. I'm really into it. I also love the tug, and it's a very difficult decision for me, but I just really am feeling that hot tub boat. I love the way it looks. I love the fact that you drive it with a joystick. I love that it's a hot tub. I've just been thinking a lot about hot tubs recently, and my good friend is the director of the Antique Boat Museum, and she just installed a hot tub, and we've been over there multiple times, and it's been the best.
A hot tub at the Antique Boat Museum?
No, at her house, but now I think the Antique Boat Museum, we should, now it's all coming together.
I think they got a lot of antique boats that all look the same to me, so let's slam a hot tub into a few of them.
Yeah. I bet that's high on the mission list. Right? But I do feel like, there's the stars may align. We'll see what happens.
All right.
More will be revealed on that front.
Ladies and gentlemen, the original hot tub boat from Seattle, Washington is your boat of the week.
It's the boat of the week.
How about that? Stephanie, that's a wrap. We've done it again. Our 10th week. Thank you so much, everybody who's listening and enjoying and giving us feedback and staying in touch. Please do. Like it's like really fun to hear from you. We'll talk to you next week.
Yo ho ho, that's it for the Boaty Show. Back the cooler, grab the lines, let's go, go, go. Yo ho 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 ho.
That's it for the Boaty Show. What do you want?
Very good job today.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Stay floaty.
Stay floaty.